So, haven't done this in quite some time. Doing one of these podcasts. If you remember, about a year and a half ago, of May of 2012, me and my friend Andrew used to record a podcast. For about 5 to 6 months, this podcast lasted. We recorded it through the summer and going into the school year. Due to certain circumstances, we had to stop this podcast, thinking we were going to restart it back in 2013, which was not the case. We did not do any podcasts in the year 2013, and we are now in the year 2014. And for some reason, I thought, you know what? Maybe I should bring it back. Maybe I should do this solo on my own. And whenever I have a chance to hang out with my friend Andrew, and we actually do have time to record a podcast, we'll do one then. But for the time being, maybe I should do this myself, like we used to do back in the old format. We used to review Raw, SmackDown, Impact, any pay-per-views or major shows going on, sometimes DVD reviews, talking about random topics and discussions in the WWE and current events or even past events or just random events. We choose to doing top 5 favorites of all times, like tag teams, feuds, whatsoever. So the way I was thinking I do it now is whenever I feel like doing a podcast, I'll do a podcast. If I feel like doing one once a week, I'll do one once a week. If I feel like doing 2 in a week, I'll do 2 in a week. If I do 3 in a week, I'll do 3 in a week. If I do one every day, I'll do one every day. If I do one every 2 weeks, I'll do one every 2 weeks. But I'll try to keep it as consistent as possible. If things do come up, then I will not do one, but I will try to review anything current, and if eventually enough people keep listening, I'll review whatever you guys want to listen to. I know I used to get about 100, no, I used to get about 200 to 500 people downloads a week when I used to have the old podcast, and the download link is in the description if you choose to listen to it in that format. Thank you, and pretty much we are back. We are back. We are back. We are getting Doug back. That's, if you didn't know that reference, you gotta watch The Hangover. So way back when, we used to have this little NWO intro. That is not the case. As for today, there will be no intro because I will not be editing this. I'll be going straight to upload. And this week's episode, the first episode back, I'll be reviewing the year of 2013. Not as in depth as you think, because I'm just running through the major points, telling people why 2013 wasn't as bad as the year as people made it out to be. So people say it was one of the worst years in wrestling. That is not the case. It probably hasn't been one of the worst years in wrestling since the 90s. 2010 for me was a pretty lackluster year, having a major angle and as a nexus and killing it off within 2 or 3 months or however long that took to die off. But 2003 was actually a major year. Yes, there was a lot of lackluster moments and a lot of dull points throughout the year, but I think 6 out of the 12 months, we got some big stuff happening in 2012. Just kicking it off with The Rock versus CM Punk. CM Punk kicking off the first show of the year of 2013 on the 20th anniversary of Raw, beating Ryback, I believe, in a TLC match thanks to the Shield. Raw came out. They both cut a promo on each other, and that was a start off to a great angle, which already started off when Punk turned heel in 2012, and GTS The Rock. That's how his whole heel persona came about once again. But The Rock and Punk cut an epic promo, thinking that the wrestling world just got so pumped up. The outside world was getting hyped up too. People were watching this everywhere, talking about CM Punk versus The Rock. But that was 3 weeks prior to the show, and it was a promo where I thought, man, if they keep going with this for 3 more weeks, I think we got one of the biggest wrestling pay-per-views of all time, where The Rock will probably pretty much guaranteeing The Rock win the Royal Rumble. But in that case, who was going to face The Rock at WrestleMania 29? And there was rumors that after when The Rock beat Cena at WrestleMania 28, there was rumors saying at WrestleMania 29 they will have a rematch for the WWE Championship, where The Rock will defend the title and against John Cena, and John Cena will get his win back and become a 13-time world champion. and that happened at WrestleMania 29. But first, Cena would have to win the Royal Rumble. A lot of people then thought either Cena or Ryback was in the Royal Rumble. Yes, Ryback was once relevant back in late of 2012, early 2013. People actually cared about Ryback. People actually thought he was going to win the Royal Rumble and face the World Heavyweight Champion. People thought that I personally thought John Cena would win at Elimination Chamber in a chamber match, how like Jack Swagger did. And then Rock versus CM Punk would occur for the second time, which I thought the second match, as a wrestling match, was far better than the first match, but the first match had so much more hype. Rock would win the title, Cena would come out, and face-to-face, there's your WrestleMania 29 match. The only thing I disliked about this match, happening for a second time, is that last year, WrestleMania 28, they booked this as a once-in-a-lifetime match, saying that this is it. It's one exhibition match. This is one time it's going to happen. If you miss this, you done goof. And you're never going to see this the rest of your life. You might see this on a DVD or replay, but you're never going to see this live. And if you don't order this pay-per-view, that's it. You're out of luck. And that's why it became one of the most profitable matches of all time. Biggest WrestleManias of all time. Biggest gate. One of the biggest attendances. And one of the biggest pay-per-view buyers. One of the Rock Cena 1 is bigger than Rock Hogan. It is bigger than Andre versus Hogan. It is the biggest wrestling match in the history of wrestling. Not because of how the match quality was. It's because how much money they actually made off the match. And you can say all you want, but that was the match. Anyways, going into a second year of Rock vs. Cena 2, many people were lackluster, seeing like kind of obvious like who's gonna win, and that happened where The Rock beat John Cena Cena beat The Rock at WrestleMania 29, and in that match, The Rock injured himself, thinking we would get a tease for Brock Lesnar versus The Rock. That would not happen, and we haven't seen The Rock since WrestleMania 29. Speaking of Brock Lesnar, he continued his feud with Triple H in this year. He had a feud with he continued his feud with Triple H, coming out and F5ing Vince McMahon. He then pretty much Triple H set up the challenge, says, "I want to fight you." Brock Lesnar said, "If you want to fight me, you got to put your career on the line," which he did. And Triple H beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, and then lost to him in a steel cage match, which was not a lot of people talk about that steel cage match. It was okay at the time, but once after it happened, it's like that's it. Like I haven't watched that match since I watched it live. So what does CM Punk do? What does CM Punk do after he lost to The Rock? Well, he had probably one of the better matches of his career. I think CM Punk, this will be as close to as he gets as a main event, which the Undertaker match, if you face the Undertaker and don't think you're the main event, you are insane, because the Undertaker is WrestleMania, and the Undertaker is the main event of WrestleMania 23, of WrestleMania 24. What was it? Undertaker Batista, Undertaker Edge, Undertaker Shawn Michaels 2, Undertaker Triple H 2. 3 actually. The second match, the first match was the second match was the third match, and then Undertaker vs. CM Punk. Those have been the main event matches that people have been paying for WrestleMania to see, because they know that they were going to deliver, and they had the most hype and the most build and the most on the line. He ended up losing that match, getting injured, taking some time off, which would lead... I'm probably much be jumping all over the place, so let me just go through this. We lead to pretty much Punk comes back. He comes to Payback. He debuts as a face, beats Jericho in a great match. Probably another match not a lot of people really talk about. Overlooked show of Payback. It was actually a pretty good show, and it was in Chicago, Illinois. The third pay-per-view in a row. Every time WWE has come to Chicago in the past 3 years, they've delivered with the last two of the best shows of the year, and Payback had one of the probably top 5 shows of 2013. what we then led to Punk going into a feud with Brock Lesnar, when Brock Lesnar beating him, and Punk and Paul Heyman feuded throughout the entire year. Them having a match at what was it, Night of Champions. Then that happened when Ryback came and started feuding with Punk. Punk then beat Ryback 2 times in a row, and that was the dissension of Ryback after losing from WrestleMania 29 all the way to Hell in a Cell. We then had John Cena feuding after that was with Mark Henry, and Mark Henry cutting probably one of the best promos of 2013, having a feud with him. But throughout that entire summer, there was one man rising to the top, and that was the rise of Daniel Bryan. Pretty much Daniel Bryan, and also the rise of Randy Orton. Like, Randy Orton came from being suspended to coming back to making a movie to going through WrestleMania to losing to The Shield to teaming up with Team Hell No with Daniel Bryan and Kane, facing The Shield every night pretty much for a couple months. And they were having some damn good matches, Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton. They even had a match together on pay-per-view, I believe it was against The Shield and a tag team match. And that was a pretty fun match to watch. Was that at Payback? I believe that was at Payback. This was pretty much the rise of Daniel Bryan. I called it the summer of Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan was unstoppable in the summer of 2013. He gave the Shield their first ever loss as a team, which I thought was amazing that they actually put that on SmackDown. And kind of a disappointment. I think either if you're gonna put that on SmackDown, put that on Raw, put that live, put that as the main event, or put that on pay-per-view, make everyone pay for it. Because but at that time, Shield wasn't really wrestling matches on TV. They were beginning to wrestle matches on TV. They had that match against The Undertaker. That was the first big match they had on TV. But before that, they weren't really like, either you watched them on pay-per-view or you didn't really watch them at all. It was at the early part of 2013. It was actually a treat when you saw the Shield wrestle on TV, which I thought was actually building towards something. Like, you can't see them on TV, you had to pay to see them, which was kind of a huge deal, because they were, when you saw their matches on pay-per-view, they were actually delivering and having great matches. They weren't just like the hype exceeded the expectation matched the hype. Going to Daniel Bryan, everyone thought he was going to win Money in the Bank, but Randy Orton came in, stuck up from behind, and won Money in the Bank. So, when is Randy Orton going to cash in? Who knows? John Cena, for some reason, doesn't have an opponent at SummerSlam, so instead of having a number one contender battle royal or some type of Gold Rush tournament, John Cena grants Daniel Bryan a WWE Championship shot. Daniel Bryan being over for pretty much the whole summer. After WrestleMania, WWE continues to pretty much bury Daniel Bryan throughout the whole entire summer, calling him a GOAT, but making him an underdog, but really, like, not like, they weren't setting him up to like, oh yeah, we have to cheer him because he's against the machine, he's against the corporate machine, but they were more like just making fun of him, the size, the way he looked. It just wasn't a right way to build up a SummerSlam main event right before Daniel Bryan was going to win the title, which he did beat John Cena to win the WWE Championship at SummerSlam. I was there. It was a damn good match. And Randy Orton came in, ruined the party, cashed in, and became the guy. After losing to Daniel Bryan at Night of Champions, I was there once again. The title became vacant. There was no winner at Battleground, which then led to Daniel Bryan losing to Randy Orton in Hell in a Cell match, which then led to having Randy Orton versus Big Show in a WWE Championship match at the main event of Survivor Series, which is possibly one of the worst wrestling main events that people have paid for of all time in WWE history. That match was bad for a main event. It only went 10 minutes. I remember one year Goldberg versus Triple H went about 13 minutes, but that match was strong enough to actually end the show, and it wasn't the heel getting the win, it was Goldberg getting the win. The face was getting the win. But Daniel Bryan getting pushed to the side pretty much after that. And them WWE literally out of the blue No one saw this coming. Randy Orton and John Cena in a TLC match for both the WWE Championship and the World Heavyweight Championship. And no one thought they were going to unify the titles. No one really expected them to do it. But you know what? They did at TLC. Probably one of the worst builds and probably one of the most let down things that happen. And probably sometimes, like when you think about it, it's actually very forgettable that Randy Orton is the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Yeah, you see him with 2 belts, but you really don't believe it. It's just like, did they really do that without... They did it in 3 weeks build. At least if you're going to unify the titles, at least tease it for 3 months, then put it on a big show like SummerSlam or a title versus title match. Why would you not save that for WrestleMania 30? The biggest show in wrestling history. Title versus title. There will only be one world champion in the WWE, and you don't save that until WrestleMania 30? Doesn't make any sense. And you put in a TLC match with 3 weeks build with you're pretty much giving it away for nothing because no one's going to buy the pay-per-view because you've been diminishing every pay-per-view. And at least if you put on WrestleMania, you got those extra insurance buys to say, man, we're going to see that Taker match and we're going to see that title versus title match. Oh, this is going to be awesome. And we're probably going to see a Triple H or a Brock Lesnar match. This is just stacked. How do we not pay $70 to watch this pay-per-view? But that's just me. Next, we got what was happening this year? CM Punk. CM Punk had a great first part of the year, 3 months. Then he took some time off. Then he had a great match with Jericho. He had an excellent match with Lesnar. Some say people call it one of their favorite matches of 2013, one of the best matches of 2013. It was damn fun watching live. And then he went like kind of downhill. He kind of didn't have a great match. Like he was feuding with Axel. He might have been hurt. He had a whatever match at Night of Champions. Whatever match at Battleground, one of probably the worst TLC matches in WWE history at Hell in a Cell. I'm sorry, TLC. Did I say TLC match at Hell in a Cell? I mean, said worst Hell in a Cell matches at the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. What did he do at Survivor Series? He faced... who did he face? Oh, Bryan and Punk versus the Wyatt family. That was one of his better matches, and he's been having good matches with The Shield, especially with Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, and last night on Raw he had a pretty good match with Roman Reigns. But 2013 was up and down year for Punk. I think he's going to go back up on that ladder. He's just one of those guys that's there. He's a face and he sells merch and people love to see him. People pay to see him. He's a guy that actually draws, and if people don't think that, well, they haven't been to WWE show, because when Punk comes out, those chants are loud and those chants are ongoing. Who else had a good... Triple H's... Randy Orton. Randy Orton... I know I talked about Randy Orton, but think about it. Randy Orton from suspended to movie to putting people over to feuding with The Shield to feuding with Bryan to winning Money in the Bank to winning the WWE Champion to winning the WWE World Heavyweight Champion Unification match. That's just, like, last year people were predicting that this year Randy Orton would get a 3rd suspension and be fired. That's what people legitimately thought. People thought this was the end of Orton. He was never going to get another push. He was going to be one of those guys that would be there wrestling matches, and they're not going to do much with him. He is now literally the heel face of the company. Yes, I said the bad guy, the top bad guy of the company. He's the heel, but he's the face. He's the heel. He's the face of the company as a bad guy. You think WWE now? You think who's the bad guy there? It's Randy Orton. But not just Randy Orton. There's one other guy. There's a guy that got out his shovel and just been burying people, especially the man named Daniel Bryan. Probably one of the best, probably the feud of 2013 that we yet to still haven't seen a match for. Triple H versus Daniel Bryan. And going into that, this is my preview for 2014. What I think 2014 is going to be for the year of wrestling. So there's been a lot of talk of this whole network, that on January 8th, the network will be launched. Do I think it's going to be a success? Do I think it's going to be a failure? It depends how much WWE actually charges for this network. It depends on what content you get. I do think if they give away all the pay-per-views for free, I think they've done goof, and I think they're going to lose a lot of money. But I think if they keep Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, and SummerSlam. At least those three big pay-per-views where they actually make a profit out of, and they get a lot of money from their buy rates from. If they keep those in exclusively on pay-per-view, or you can order separately at a discounted price if you have already a subscription to the network, or even if you order the network for 1 year, you get a free pay-per-view, then I think it would be worthwhile. But if not, if they're giving away WrestleMania for free, WrestleMania 30 on the network for free, even though it's still available on pay-per-view, I think that's a stupid idea if they're charging only $9.99 or $14.99. I think for $14.99, it's a bargain. I don't know how people are going to say they're not going to pay $14.99 and you're going to watch all the pay-per-views in high definition plus exclusive content only WWE. Because once WWE Network starts, all that stuff on YouTube, you say you could watch on YouTube, you could watch on Netflix. All that stuff on YouTube and Netflix, they're all gone. Everything from Daily Motion, everything. They have teams hired specifically to take down every single video on the internet that has anything to do with the WWE, because they don't want a single thing of content on YouTube, Daily Motion, anything on the internet. Yeah, you could hide from random pirate sites here and there, but they're going to get at least 95% of things on the internet that's going to be gone. And most people, majority of people just go to YouTube to search for things. So what are they going to do now? They're going to go to www.com. They pay their $10 or $15, and then they got their wrestling fix. And I think if they do a 6-month, 3-month subscription deal, a 6-month subscription deal, or even a yearly subscription deal, I think they'll be making money because they have them locked in. And if they don't have them locked in, the content's gone. It's a one-time fee. You can't refund it. But if WWE pay-per-views actually crash during a pay-per-view, which I think there should be a free trial, and they give it free for like 1 month, and then knock it off right before the day before Elimination Chamber, if they're debuting it then, or if they're debuting it the day after WrestleMania, they should have it free up until like the next pay-per-view, and then have like a one broadcasting, say, of like the pre-show or something. Say that's free, and see how much people they can handle on that network. They should do that, but until then, like, they shouldn't be like adamant of giving a pay-per-view out right away, because if it crashes, you're gonna have a majority of people not trusting WWE Network for quite some time until they fix those bugs. Say if I order Extreme Rules on the WWE Network for that 1 month and it doesn't work, you think I'm gonna order another pay-per-view and pay $15? No, I'm going to wait a couple months, see the reviews. If everyone says it's okay the next pay-per-view, yeah, then sure, I'll buy the other one. But if they do that, then they're losing out on a monthly subscription. And say like 500,000 people knock off because 1 month it doesn't work. That's 500,000 people times $10 or $15. That's nearly 5 million to 7.5 million people losing WWE's $5 million to $7.5 million WWE is losing on. Imagine that. Exactly. So that's why they should at least give a free trial and test this out before they actually go through with any live streaming of pay-per-views. So, what else do I think WWE? Is Daniel Bryan gonna rise to the top? Yes. I think it's insane. WWE needs guys. John Cena's body's wear and tear. He already had an injury in 2013, and a lot of people are suspecting him having another injury in 2014. His body's deteriorating. He's been wrestling for over since the year 2000 he's been wrestling, so 14 years. Him and Daniel Bryan had the same extent length of career. That's how long they've been wrestling. Daniel Bryan and John Cena I believe started at around the same time, not in the same place, but around the same time. And they both have been wrestling just intensely. And John Cena has accumulated a lot of injuries over the years, and a lot of people think his body's ready to go. And as for Daniel Bryan, yes, he's accumulated injuries, but he's a wrestler that will always go, and he'll be like John Cena. But I think Daniel Bryan's lifespan and of his wrestler is longer than John Cena's, and I think since they don't have anyone, they need a guy. They need to push a guy without thinking, without doing. They just need to push him. Doesn't matter. The crowd's behind him. don't worry about the buy rates. Yeah, I know there's a huge factor in buy rates right now, but the thing is, you just gotta let him grow. And if you're gonna book him the way they book him, it's kind of like, why would I want to order this pay-per-view if I know my guy's gonna lose? The only people like John Cena and order John Cena's pay-per-views because the fans that watch his pay-per-views, 9 times out of 10, he's gonna win. That's why those fans are fans and buy the pay-per-views. If people of Daniel Bryan watch his pay-per-views and buy the pay-per-views, the only reason people bought like such a big buy rate for Hell in a Cell because people legitimately thought Daniel Bryan was gonna beat Randy Orton and win the WWE Championship. But since their guy lost and they're not in the main title picture, the pay-per-view dropped drastically from Hell in a Cell to Survivor Series. Even though John Cena did probably help the buy rate of Hell in a Cell also, because his return and the John Cena fans came back and like, yeah, our guy's here. He's gonna win the the World Heavyweight Championship. So Daniel Bryan versus Triple H. If that match doesn't happen, WWE has wasted 6 months so far. Sorry, right now it's 4 months, but by then I think it'll happen at WrestleMania. So 6 months of storyline, building this huge feud and not having any payoff. Burying the guy. It'll be like an NWO angle where NWO beats up the good guys and the good guys never actually get their win back. 2014 predictions. Who is going to be the breakout star of the year? Many people thinking Roman Reigns. Many people thinking Biggie Langston. I can see where you're going. Right now, they're pushing Biggie Langston as a big face. Just last night on Raw, they made Roman Reigns beat CM Punk 1, 2, 3. Even though it was a little bit distraction by the Shield, it's pretty much as clean as you're going to get it for a Roman Reigns win against CM Punk. Last year, CM Punk was the WWE champion. Who has really beaten CM Punk in the past year? Pretty much no one has beaten CM Punk in the past year. What, The Rock, The Undertaker, John Cena, and John Cena and what was it? Did I say Brock Lesnar? Brock Lesnar, Undertaker, John Cena, The Rock, and you could name a couple of Paul Heyman. That would just build up a feud with to extend their feud, but just a handful of guys when you really think about it. The amount of people that actually beat CM Punk last year, this win-loss record sounds pretty good. What else we got? Biggie Langston. They're pushing him as a huge star. If you watch the New Year's Eve edition of Monday Night Raw, he was the one that closed the show. His music was playing. He got the finish, and he's the Intercontinental Champion. And I think either Biggie Langston or Roman Reigns, those are the two big guys. WWE's pushing him. There might be a guy that's coming out of the waters that we don't know about, but those are the two guys to choose from. Either you're a Biggie Langston guy, you're a Roman Reigns guy, or you like them both. Because if you like them both, you're going to be spending a lot of money on merchandise the upcoming years if you're behind both of these guys. Because I figure one of these two is going to be probably the next John Cena. But who knows? Because every guy you think is going to be the next John Cena is probably not the next John Cena. And probably the next John Cena is probably the guy you least suspect. Because did you think the next John Cena was John Cena when John Cena was on SmackDown? I don't know. Did I just confuse it with all the John Cena references? Probably. So, 2013, I think Daniel Bryan will finally get his win. He'll probably be a top guy. I think CM Punk will not become a champion this year. I think Daniel Bryan will become a champion this year. And I think Roman Reigns will be in the title picture, but will not win the title. And I think the WWE Network will succeed if done properly, and I think WWE will have a huge deal in their TV network and actually be revenuing a lot of money, which will then slowly start killing their own pay-per-view business because of the amount of money they'll be making off their TV deal. So that's my prediction for 2014, and I think John Cena will be taking a lot of time off in 2014, and if at WrestleMania, if Undertaker and John Cena don't face each other, I guess I give up. This will be like my Sting Undertaker. If Sting Undertaker the last time that match could have ever happened, the last chance they ever had for that match to happen was WrestleMania 27. And since they blew it at WrestleMania 27, there's not really a chance to even have that match anymore because Sting's old. Do you really want to see that match? You want to see this old Undertaker versus old Sting? I don't think so. Sting doesn't have the capability to have a 4 to 5 star classic with the Undertaker. Just, I know it's gonna be cool nostalgia face to face, but they're just, it's past. It's so past the era of this. It's just one of those matches where it's just a fantasy matchup. It's just like Hogan versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. And what I think they're gonna do with Hogan at WrestleMania, I think it'll be just Hogan just make a little appearance, and he won't be in any type of matches. So 2013 awards, yes. Usually most people do this all in one video. Yeah, they do their 2013 review, their award, and the 2014 predictions video. I'm doing this all in one podcast. So if you're continuing listening, thank you for this. So my awards for 2013. Let's work our way from the bottom and go to the top. Let's go to... We won't do worst. Manager of the Year has to be Paul Heyman. Best heel has to be Paul Heyman. Best babyface has to be Daniel Bryan. Most obnoxious? These are old school words. I'm going to Wrestling Observer Awards, and I'm doing like the old awards. Most obnoxious? Who knows? Most obnoxious has to go to Ryback, and the most unimproved definitely has to go to Ryback. Best Pro Wrestling DVD has to be the King of Kings, Thy Kingdom Come DVD. Best Wrestling Book, I haven't read any wrestling books this entire year, so can't say that. Worst Gimmick of the Year has to be Los Matadores. Best Gimmick of the Year probably has to be what was the best gimmick of the year? What was a good gimmick? Fandango was pretty good. I'll go with the Fandango one. Promotion of the Year, probably WWE. Best Booker, I don't even know who books. Worst Promotion of the Year, I probably has to be TNA. Worst Feud of the Year, worst feud of 2013. What was the worst wrestling feud of 2013? Who won last year? John Cena versus Kane won 2012. 2013 has to be... I don't know what was the worst feud. I think the worst feud was probably Punk versus Ryback. This was kind of sucked. Worst work match of the year was probably that... I don't know what the worst work match of the year. A Hell in a Cell match. That's probably the worst work match of the year. Worst television show of the year. I'd probably go with Impact. The most disgusting promotional tactic. When they showed... What did they do? I don't know what the most disgusting promotional tactic. Jerry Lawler's heart attack? Was that 2012? They must have used it in 2013. I'll deal with that one. Best wrestling maneuver. That has to be the flying knee. That flying knee is maneuver of the year. Because once you get hit with that move, that's it. Worst major wrestling show. What was the worst major wrestling show? Battleground 2013. Best major show was Monday Night Raw. What else? Okay, we got worst wrestling television announcer. That probably has to be, I don't know, Michael Cole. He's okay. He's not great. Best wrestling television announcer, Jim Ross, even though he wasn't on TV, he was on NXT. Or William Regal, one of the two. Best non-wrestler has to go to Paul Heyman. He's just that damn good this year. Rookie of the Year, Big E Langston. Fight of the Year has to go to... Oh, that's UFC. We're not doing UFC today. Best match of the year has to go to John Cena versus CM Punk on Monday Night Raw. That was the best wrestling match for WWE I saw a year. So that would be the second year that the same match has won Best Match of the Year, I think. That was a damn good match. You watched that on Raw? That was for the #1 contendership to face The Rock at WrestleMania because John Cena had to prove that he could finally beat CM Punk. That was great stuff. Most Outstanding Fighter of the Year has to be Chris Weidman for doing UFC. Best Weekly Television Show, Raw. Best Promotion of the Year, WWE. Didn't I already do that? Best most underrated has to be Cesaro, and most overrated wrestler has to be who's the most overrated wrestler this year? Del Rio? No. I don't know. I don't know who was overrated this year. Might be Punk, because he was having some lackluster matches. And the best flying maneuver. Is the flying knee a flying maneuver? Because that was a damn good maneuver. Bruiser Brody, memorable award. Best brawler. Kevin Steen won it 3 years in a row. I think Kevin Steen could take it 4. And best technical wrestler, Daniel Bryan. Most charismatic wrestler of the year has to be The Rock. And 2013. Best on interviews, probably Punk. Most improved, I think Roman Reigns is most improved in 2013. Because people are burying, I was one of them too, burying Roman Reigns. 2013 best tag team of the year, I give it to 2 people. I give it to Goldust and Cody Rhodes. They've been having some damn good tag team matches. And I'll give it to The Shield for faction of the year. And then the best wrestler of 2000. No. Which one's this? Feud of the year. Daniel Bryan versus Triple H. Has to be the feud of the year. Best box office draw. The Rock. Most outstanding wrestler. Oh, this is best wrestler. So it's Daniel Bryan. Has to be Daniel Bryan. Wait, most outstanding wrestler. Daniel Bryan should win most outstanding wrestler, and he should win best wrestler of the year, because he was that damn good this year. And you think I'm overhyping him? You are insane. This year he proved why he could work with big guys, small guys, tall guys, short guys, small, skinny guys, fat guys, big guys, small guys, just everyone, and to have one of the best matches on the show. He showed why he was over. He showed why he deserved the WWE Championship. Even when they took it away from him 5 minutes later, the crowd literally poured in rage and outroar of why he should be champion. And he should be champion right now. He should be the WWE Champion. He should be the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. He should be carrying both titles. What do we got? Well, that's pretty much it. So this will be my first ever podcast. Thank you for listening. This was about almost 40 minutes. We just reviewed 2013. We even get to talk about The Shield. The Shield had a damn good year. Just so many people had great years. If you thought 2013 was lackluster, I don't know what's wrong with you. 2013 was a damn good year. Actually trying to build wrestlers while burying them at the same time. Even though we got the same feuds going, we got different feuds going on too. 2014, I think, will finally be the year where there's going to be a new star. Cena's out and some guy's in. Because eventually, one day, Cena's just going to be out. And then he's not coming back. And what do you do then? Because when Cena's out, by the time that happens, if Cena's gone, Punk's probably going to be gone. And Daniel Bryan's going to be soon out the door. And you need Roman Reigns, you need Biggie Langston. You got to call a couple other guys. You need to call Sami Zayn. Solomon, what was it? Solomon, like Sami Callihan's a stupid name, Solomon Crow or something like that. Can't remember. You just got a ton of talent in NXT that if you bring them up and you use them properly, is as a mid card, as the main event, or even as the just an attraction, just to watch. Like Xavier Woods, he probably not going to be a major star, But he'll probably always have a job because he'll probably be just one of those attractions that you come see to watch at a show, like R-Truth. R-Truth will probably have the job for the rest of his life until he's probably like 40-something, like in his late 40s. Because people come and watch him. He probably makes a lot of money. People come see him. People like to do the what's up thing, all that. It's just fun. Like, you always need a variety. That's why when you see guys like R-Truth, it's just fun to watch. So, thank you for listening to my podcast. The next podcast I'll probably be doing will be later in the week, I hope. I will either do a show just on Raw, and they're making a WWE Network announcement, so I'll probably talk about the network, how I think, like, what my prediction on what actually is going to happen. This is a prediction prior to the announcement, which will be announced tomorrow. You probably already know that, though. The huge announcement that they're making tomorrow. I'm going to laugh at something stupid like Stone Cold's coming out of retirement and Austin's coming out of retirement because they're both at the they're both at the press conference. Anyways, next podcast we'll review Raw. If I do it in a later time, I'll review SmackDown if it's after Friday. Talk about the network and whatever else. So that's that. Oh, and I'll probably add a TNA Impact. I'll probably watch that Genesis pay-per-view. So that's just my little pilot episode, solo edition. I hope you enjoyed actually listening to me talk for almost 45 minutes. That's pretty much it. So thank you for listening to this podcast today. Hope you enjoyed this podcast. And I'll catch you on the next one. Yeah.